Forgotten mod, Mystcraft. What this is?
Mystcraft is a Minecraft mod that allows the user to create and explore custom dimensions called ages. These ages can range from an empty world to a lush jungle that's always day, to a flat desert which spawns balls of diamonds.
The good. Customizability.
One of the biggest pluses is that you have the ability to control every aspect of an age. From biomes to world gen to structures to the day-night cycle. You can create the world of your dreams given you've gotten the proper pages to create it.
Engaging loop.
The mod offers a nice gameplay loop, where you create an age, explore it to get pages, then make new ages using those pages, and repeat the process. And because worlds can widely vary in how they generate, this process doesn't get too stale that quickly.
Strong atmosphere.
Exploring unknown worlds is very compelling. You feel like a pioneer, manifesting destiny when you jump into a random age. Especially just how different the worlds can be, from a generation standpoint, as well as visually.
Alternative resource getting.
The mod nicely gives you ways to get extra resources that would either take a long time or require a grind to get, and knocks it behind finding the relevant pages. Unlocking block pages really makes you feel like you've reached a new stepping stone progression, even if it's something minor like sandstone or nether brick, which would require you to tear apart your world to get, and giving a way around that is nice for aesthetic reasons especially.
The bad. Confusing.
The syntax of age creation is very touchy, and any mistakes will lead to the world resembling nothing like you envisioned it for what feels like extremely arbitrary reasons, which is quite frustrating, especially since there are zero resources in-game to help the player determine how to phrase things properly, or even which sections go in what order.
Outdated documentation.
And the wiki itself isn't much better. Not only is the information sparse, but it's either missing or outdated. You will have to probably watch a video or scour the internet for a proper guide, since the mod gives nothing in terms of direction.
Balance.
The game tries to balance the possibility of infinite resources with an instability mechanic. However, the majority of the offsets are a mild annoyance at worst if you're tactful, and severe instability effects like the world eating itself aren't very interactive in how the player can tackle the world, and basically means you just have to throw it away after you've visited it once.
My computer is on fire.
One massive issue this mod has is poor performance. Some ages you load into are perfectly fine and don't have significantly more slowdown than the overworld. But some worlds are just terrible in terms of impact, and are nearly unplayable, even when turning the render distance to the minimum. Even at a standstill, when not generating any chunks, the game is plagued by stutters and slowdowns that don't seem to have any reason.
Soft locks.
If you die in an age, you respawn in it. Okay, sure, on paper this isn't the worst thing. It makes it feel like you're truly in another world, except problem. If you lose all your items, you have to hope that either you get lucky and get the resources to gamble with getting a way out via another age, or get lucky and have the world spawn with a star fissure, neither of which is guaranteed. And if you can't, you're just stuck there, forever, unless you use commands to teleport yourself out. Now granted, you can change the config to have the respawn be in the overworld, but why is this not the default anyways? I get that it makes getting to your body in an age less tedious, but it's incredibly boring to be stuck in another dimension from what could be as simple as an honest mistake.
Why it was forgotten.
Now there's many reasons that could have contributed to this mod dying. I think the biggest one would have to be the lack of updates. The original mod spanned 1.4 to 1.12 and was never updated past that version. Understandably so, considering the flattening of 1.13. But such a gap in versions, especially recent, can be a death sentence for a mod. Just look at IC2 for a similar example. There was an updated version, but it's only for 1.16, and it came just a bit too late to save the mod. Not to mention that it's only an alpha build that has not been updated in about 2 years. Another reason is the absolute headache it creates for server maintainers, from having to bail players out of soft-lock dimensions, to severe performance hits, to the difficulty of balance issues that end up resulting from the mod. I've also heard that creating too many realms breaks dimensions, but this is unverified and may not be true. But if it is, it presents another reason to not run it in a pack. Or worse, disable it in the server. And it doesn't help that the creator, XCompWiz, doesn't seem to be that active online anymore, with the last update to a mod on CurseForge being in early 2022, with the Patreon and GitHub being a bit more recent with activity, at April and June of this year respectively. And this lack of activity is not helped by the mod being ostensibly closed source, meaning that forking the mod is harder and frowned upon, since the only way of messing with the code is to decompile the jar file, which loses certain details that would make the mod harder to analyze.
Ideasguying.
Of course, I can offer many suggestions, but little contributions for my own ideas of the mod, what with not knowing Java.
Performance.
I think that if nothing else is to be changed, then this should. Getting game-disrupting stutters is unacceptable to play with, and ensures that very few servers outside of an SMP with a friend group will ever run it. I'm not familiar with Minecraft code to know how or why to fix this, but I'm sure there's something to be done about it.
Open source.
This is a change that can be done to bolster the longevity of the mod as well. Why make code when other people can for you? It's simple enough to throw the files onto GitHub, but the creator could have personal reservations about it that I don't know of since I wasn't able to find their repo. At least the developer seems to have an amount of passion for his mod left, which is always nice to see, though reading up on the Patreon shows that he's kind of got a life, so I don't blame him for not devoting time to modding a block game.
Balancing.
The mod should have some more systems in place to ensure that there's some real downsides to the player going with the classy diamond ore block sphere or gold ore block tendrils. I could think of a few ideas, but easier said than done. The constant potion effects are a good deterrent, but can easily be more annoying than a preventative of you using the age depending on the RNG. And I for one don't think that annoying the player or wasting their time is a good balancing strategy.
Documentation.
The mod is really unintuitive, and there's some simple changes which could be made to make it easier to use. Example, adding descriptions to pages. Specify on the pages the order they should go in. Just doing that would go a long way of making the mod more accessible to newer players, and drawing more people to try the mod. Also adding some tips to the bookbinder could be nice too.
Conclusion.
Overall, this is a very fun mod with a couple of glaring flaws which prevent it from coming back into the spotlight as a must-have mod, even assuming that it was updated. But in spite of all my critiques, I still think that Mystcraft is a worthwhile mod that can bring a lot of enjoyment to the right kind of player. Just remember to have the wiki open, and don't forget your linking book.